Okay. Kumlen and Ablat Gemara, Freil Chanukah. We're doing today's Shabbos Shchedish's Gemara. Then we'll pause and we'll do the Sunday's Gemara. The Gemara we've been learning the last few days was actually quite complicated to the extent, and you don't normally find this, but the Ran, Anun Tesor Beis, I'll just quote you what the Ran says. The Ran towards the bottom of the page, like 12 lines to the bottom of the page, after he explains most of the Gemara, he says, Va'adayin, after explaining everything that I just said, still, Ein Daiti Noiche, I'm not happy with the, I don't feel comfortable with the hope shot in the Gemara. V'tzorech ani lasas li rav, I still need a lot more work to understand the Gemara. So imagine us. Okay, we are up to now the 8th Perek of Samach Hamad Aleph, and what we're going to talk about is basically if you give a set time for a neder. You say, this period of time, my neder is going to be usher. How long is that for? Okay, it's pretty straightforward Gemara. Mishnah. Koinim yain, I forbid wine. It's like a carbon shani time. I shouldn't taste it. Hayain. It says today. Now it's 9 o'clock in the morning. So what does today mean? In usher al shatachshach means till tzeisek chavim, till dark, and that's when the day ends. That's it. It's not 24 hours. If he says Shabbos zu, this week usher. Shabbos. Let's say it's this week. Now there are two ways of learning the rest of the Mishnah. One way is that you're always in middle of the week, middle of the month, middle of the year. Another way is learning the beginning. So most of Shem learn in the middle. So this is how they learn. Shabbos, on Monday afternoon, you say this week should be Asr. So what's this week? It's Asr b'chol Shabbos. The rest of the week is forbidden. We don't take it all the way to next Monday. He said this week. But the Shabbos, the coming Shabbos is part of this week. Shabbos is the last day of this week. It's not the first day of next week. So Shabbos included. So this is if we learn Pshat in the Mishnah, it's in the middle of the week. The other way of learning is you're standing on Shabbos itself and you're saying that this week is forbidden. So then they learn Friday is the last day and Shabbos means, and the Shabbos that just passed, that I'm in the middle of, from the second onwards, it's included in this week and it's forbidden. So it's the past Shabbos. Okay, the next thing is the same thing applies at Chodesh, this month. And so let's say the 14th day of the month. We don't say, oh, you got to wait till the 14th day of the following month. It means this month is Asr. The Cholah Chodesh entire month, Rosh Chodesh Lahaba. So again, in the middle of the month, Rosh Chodesh, the next month, Rosh Chodesh, like we're in right now, is part of the next month already. And even the 30th day, for example, the 30th day of Tishrei is not considered still part of Tishrei. It's considered the first day of Rosh Chodesh, as we'll see in the Gemara later. It's part of the next month already. Or according to the other interpretation of Mishnah, it's the first day of the month you're saying it, and the Rosh Chodesh Lahaba, the day that you're in right now, is part of this month. Lahaba, it's included in your Isra, middle of Rosh Chodesh. So this day, the rest of the day is forbidden, and the rest of the month till the following Rosh Chodesh. Okay, the same way we learn every part of the Mishnah. Shana this year, Asr b'Chala Shana doesn't mean a year to the next day. It means just till the end of the year. But Rosh Hashanah, Shana already said next year. Shavua is there, and again, according to other pshat, if you're standing on Rosh Hashanah, then the very rest of that day is part of the Isser, is part of the year that you're saying it's going to be forbidden for you. Shavua is there, this Shemitah cycle is Asr b'Chol HaShavua, forbidden the entire Shemitah, b'Shvi'i She'abra. And the Shemitah year as well is considered part of, no, year number 7 is considered part of the 7. Don't say, oh, Shemitah starts the new cycle. No, Shemitah is part of the 7 years. What happens? He said, now that's the first part of the Mishnah. Second part of the Mishnah. He said, Yom Echad, an entire day. An entire day is not the same thing as today. An entire day means a 24-hour period. So if it's now 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you got to wait till tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Shabbos Achas, 1 week. So I have to wait till next week. Machlek is a sheni when we say Shabbos Achas 1 week. Let's say it's Tuesday afternoon. You say for a week, I'm not going to do this. Does it mean till Mamish Tuesday afternoon next week for 4 o'clock, or does it mean till Monday night? Chodesh Echad, 1 month, a month. Machlek is if it's 30-day month or 29. Shana Echad, but again, it's from today, 29 or 30 days later. We don't say till the end of the month. Shana Echad entire year. Shavua Echad entire Shemitah. Asr miyom l'yom. Forbidden then that period from the day you're in, and you count that much time till the next. That's equivalent period. What about case number 3? He says, Ad ha-Pesach, till Pesach. I'm not going to eat anything or eat any meat or whatever, drink any wine. Asr ad shegiyah, that means till Pesach. As soon as Pesach arrives, it's permitted. What happens? He says, Ad sheyeh, until the Pesach exists. Then it means till the entire Pesach went by. Asr Achiyach, it's forbidden until Pesach is over. What happens if he says ad lifnei ha-Pesach? What happens if he says until before Pesach? Well, before can be interpreted in three ways. It can be before the beginning. It could mean before the second set of Yom Tovim, after Chol Hamoed, right before the last 2 days, or it could mean before the very last second of Yom Tov, when you're very unclear. So Rameir says we don't believe that people. This is how the Gemara understands right now. Rameir says that we don't believe people are going to make the Nedarim which are unclear. So therefore, Rameir says also it's forbidden ad sheyagir. Then obviously we say that what the one thing that is clear is the beginning of Pesach. We're not going to break down Pesach. Does it mean the last days, the last minute? So what he meant was something which is clear. He's not being ambiguous, and therefore what he meant was till the beginning of Pesach. However, Rabbi Yossi says no, it's not till the advent of Pesach. Also, people will go into Nedarim which are not clear, and because we're not sure, we're always machmir. He has that whatever he banned on himself was banned until the penultimate second of Pesach. Okay, the Gemara says even though it says the guy said I'm not going to drink any wine. Says so. Let's say he said I'm not going to drink wine today. Okay, so as soon as night comes by, mahadin, it's over. Your whatever it is you said is forbidden. It's forbidden. Says nevertheless, I'm making a new takana, the way most people understood. Abim is actually the one who came along and acted it. Comes that night, you need to go to a chacham in Mataneder. You clearly said today. So as soon as night comes in, it should be permitted. I want you to be Mataneder. Why? My time. Comes along Rabbi Yossi and says, you know why? Rabbi Yossi is like, Zayda, we are worried. If we're going to say Hayom, it means till the end of the day. The next time, if you say a day, Yom Echad, a full day, you're going to think when it comes dark, it's over. So therefore, we're going to make you go to a Chacham to find a way to get you out of the neder. So you're going to realize that it's not so simple. And if you do go to Chacham and you say Yom Echad, he'll tell you, hey, Yom Echad, you got to wait till tomorrow, whatever time it was, you made it dead in the first place. I said to Rabbi Yossi, if so, why don't we do it the other way around as well? Even if he says Yom Echad, why don't we say, let's say 4 o'clock in the afternoon he made a neder. The following day, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, officially it expires, but he should go to a chacham because otherwise, he'll next time I make a neder hayom, 2 in the afternoon, and he said, oh, last time I made it, I finished at 4 in the afternoon, so maybe I also finished 4 in the afternoon, even though it doesn't get dark till 7 at night. Why aren't we worried that way? So what are you talking about? People will make a mistake. It makes perfect sense. You said today and you tell them at night it's over. Everyone knows night ends the end of the day. So if you say Yom Echad, you very well, it's like if I can see, it's conceivable that you're going to say, my fast, my whatever it is over. If I said Hayem, it's to say that if I finish Yom Echad 4 in the afternoon, next time I'm going to do Hayem, I'm going to think finish noon. There's no such thing because the fact is I went through 24 hours. I know that I did a full day. I'm not going to make a mistake and think that I made a net at 2 in the afternoon that I can finish by 4 in the afternoon. You didn't go your 24 hours. That's how all the Shem explain. I don't know. So to me, it seems the part is what time of the day are you going to actually end? If you say that dark, comes, you say today, and there's dark, dark ends every single day. So you might think that Yom Echad also finishes at dark. But if you say, the Yom Echad, you started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you finished 2. So what's going to be? Next time you say Hayom today, you're going to think, what particular time are you going to finish? There's no specific time. The only time that you know is Sesik Chavim. Otherwise, there's no clear demarcation. Well, what time would you think that you finish? Because once upon a time you did it at 2 o'clock, therefore what? And the other time you did it at 9 in the morning, before in the afternoon. Anyway, the Rishonim don't explain what I just said. I don't know why. Amar Rabbi says, Rema once told me, your father once said, Mashmeid Rabbi Yossi, name Rabbi Yossi. Command Azla Hashmaita, according to who Rabbi Yim is so strict. According to who does he follow Bar Abba? Why is he making this new rule that you have to go to be Matzah Neder, even though he said only today is over? That is because he follows the view of Rab Nosson that we had a while ago in the beginning of this Masechta in the early Chavs. We were told that's not a good habit to go into the Nedarim. And when we look for a Pesach, an opening, we tell them different things. You're a sinner and several things. And one of the things we said was Rab Nosson said, anybody who makes a neder is ki'ilu, and we just had to say yesterday. Anybody makes a neder, ki'ilu boy the bomber, as if he built a bomber, a little bit altar in his backyard, which he shouldn't when there's a basic mikdash. And I'm a kaima. And worse is if you fulfill the neder, instead of annulling it, you fulfill the ki'ilu machila, as if you brought a carbon on the bomber, which you shouldn't have done. In other words, Well, we don't want you to get in the habit of the Durham. That's why we are stringent and we're telling you to go to a Rav to be Matadeder. So most Rishonim hold that that Ravina is not arguing with what Rabbi Yeshua said before, that the reason is you might make an error. He's just coupling onto it. He's saying you need the two reasons together. Just because you might make an error, it's a bit far-fetched. But because we are strict with Nedarim and you might make an error, combine the two. So in other words, where it's not a bad thing, for example, you made a neder to do a mitzvah to learn Torah, to daven better, or something, then for a day or two, we're not going to tell you to go be a matzah neder. But Rashi here learns that he's actually arguing with the Rabbi Yosef. He doesn't believe it. Nobody makes such mistakes, purely because in the Durham we want to be strict. And the difference, one of the differences might be, is because if it's purely the Durham want to be strict, then it's not only in the case of today. Any neder you make with a time period, you need to be matzah neder. And if it's because of mistakes, then maybe it's only in the case of today, but not if you say this week. The week expired, it's over. But according to Rashi, it could be even the week expires, you still have to go be mataneder because we don't want you to make the Durham. That would be a big difference in halacha. Furthermore, Shabbazu this week, also the entire week. Shita, obviously. No, I would have thought I would have thought you meant the weekdays. Why would next Shabbos be included? Kamashlan that it is. There's a medrash clear that says, "Ein manichin tefillin ela b'Shabbos." You don't put on tefillin only on Shabbos. And everybody was puzzled by this because we know the only day we don't put on tefillin is Shabbos. What does it mean, the medrash? Ein manichin tefillin ela b'Shabbos. So they asked it to Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov said the pshat is very simple. The pshat is we don't put on tefillin only when we say in the Shir Shayim Hayom Yom Echad B'Shabbos, Hayom Yom Shei B'Shabbos. But on Shabbos day proper we say Hayom Yom Shabbos Kodesh. We don't say bit, and that's what it means. Ein tefillin ela B'Shabbos. So here we would have thought that that weekdays is what you meant when you made this medrash. So no, Shabbos is included. Chodesh is also Chodesh Laborish. Chodesh breaks in the next month. Of course, it's the next month. He said this month. So there's Chodesh in the next month. What's Chodesh? It was the first day of the month or the 10th day of the month or the next month. So we need it for a missing month. So the way we learned the mission, the first case was that you're in the middle of the month. When we say Chodesh Chasha means, because usually the way it works is what we alternate. 1 month is 30 days, 1 month is 29. There's only 1 month that we're not sure, depending on the year. Sometimes we make it 30, sometimes 29. But like Chesh. But otherwise, we it's 1 month Chasha, 1 month Malek. 29 days or 30 days. 30 days, and we have 2 days of Chodesh, and it's 29 days, and it's only 1 day of Chodesh. So if the next month is 29 days, so then this month is 30 days. So the 30th day, which is still part of this month, is called Rosh Chodesh of the next month. The first day of Rosh Chodesh, like we just had yesterday. Yesterday was Rosh Chodesh Tevis, which was the 30th day of Kislev. So how do we view that? And that's what the mission is coming to teach you. I would have thought that the 30th day of the month is part of the previous month. The Leilitza should be forbidden. Kamash Malan comes to teach you that no, that is people people refer to it as the beginning of the next month. And the same thing is when the training bring in, when you write a contract, you should write, if you're Chodesh, let's say, like the first day of Chodesh Tevis, you don't say the 30th day of Kislev, you say the first day of Chodesh Tevis. When it comes to a get, there's a big machlekes whether you should be machmer and spell it out. The 30th day of Kislev, which is the first day of Chodesh Tevis, or you just write the first day of Chodesh Tevis. Also, when in previous Gemara, when a person makes a neder that he's make a fast, when the fast is over, you don't have to go be matah neder. You don't have to go, even though it's a neder just for the day. And Rabbi Yirmiyah said before that you have to go ahead and be matah neder. So Ran says because everybody knows that a fast is only till the nighttime, so you don't have to be matah neder. Apart from that, it's a good thing. We just said before that when you make a neder for a good thing, you don't have to be matah neder. Maybe that's why you don't have to be matah neder at all. And the Rashba says because a fast day, when we're talking about you have to be matah neder, is because you might make a mistake. It might make a mistake is you made the neder sometime during the day. So therefore, the question is, do you finish that night? Do you finish the next day? But a time is you always start from daybreak. So it's like a full day, and you make the neder before that. So therefore, it falls on a different category. You don't have to be matah neder. Next Gemara is a Gemara. We have a question. He says, if he says, I will ask the wine I will drink. He says, he's using the word yoim. He didn't say hayoim today. He didn't say yoim echad a day. He says day. How do we understand day? My dina. Do we treat it? What is it? Do we say dina ki hayom? Is it like he says today, which means it ends the rest at the end of the day, or ki yemechad? We meant like a full day, 24 hours. What does the word hayom actually mean? He says yom. Yom means day. He didn't say today, and he didn't say a full day. So what does it mean? Says the Gemara. Toshma, coming out. I'll try to prove you from the following Mishnah. From our Mishnah we just learned. It says in our Mishnah. It says in Mishnah, if I say today, it means the rest of the day. So the Mishnah doesn't mention if he said just yom. If he would have just said a day. So maybe, obviously, it does not include a day because it would have been a bigger chiddush. Mishnah would have mentioned it. Must be hayom is kiyam echad. A day is like he's saying a full day, and therefore it means wait 24 hours. Says Gemara, that's how you want to be so pedantic. So let's continue the Mishnah. Hey, let's take a look at the rest of the Mishnah. Omar, he said yom echad. He said a full day. Aser, if he said a full day, it is aser. For the full 24 hours. Let's infer from that. But hayom, if we would have just said a day, is kahayom done. It would be just like today, and it would end at that night. You can't bring a proof one way or another. We have this so often. We try to make an inference from one part of the Mishnah, but if then you look at the second part of the Mishnah, the inference would be opposite, which means the Mishnah wasn't out to tell you the din regarding hayom, how it is. I'm going to bring another proof. It says, I'm going to ban wine that I am going to taste. Hashana. Hashana is the year. Now he didn't say this year. He didn't say a full year. He just said year. How do we understand that? So the Mishnah says here, it is Abra Hashana. We're talking about, you were standing in Rosh Hashanah and he said, if you would have said, for example, a full year, standing in Rosh Hashanah, you say, no, a full year, I'm not going to drink wine. Even if that year happened to be a leap year, since most years are 12 months, and you said a full year, we're going to say you meant 12 months. So comes the Chodesh El of the following year, your neder is over. Because you said a full year. But now that you said, if you would have said this year, clearly, you would have, I don't care how many months is in the year, if it's Tishrei and you're saying a full year and it's 13 months, so be it. If you were in the year and you said, this year, then it would end Rosh Hashanah regardless. So we don't care in how many months. It means still Rosh Hashanah. If you said a full year, then it's, you didn't say this, you said a full year, then it would be 12 months. Regarding where you're standing. However, if you said Hashana, a year, how do we understand that? So it says here, this Abra Shana Asa Ba'u Bibur. You stand Rosh Hashanah, you said Hashana, it goes until the next Rosh Hashanah. Doesn't that tell us it means this year? Hey, what does it mean? What exactly do you mean? If you take it literally, if you say what? He said Hashana. If he said Hashana, Hashana means this year. So if you said this year, then obviously it means the Rosh Hashanah. Who cares how many months are left in the year? Why do you have to tell me? It makes no difference whether he's standing in a Chodesh or he's standing in Rosh Hashanah. If he said this year, it means till the end of the year. He said Shana. He said a year. He didn't say a Shana, a full year. He didn't say this year. He just said Shana, a year. Shana, a year, just like the most question of Yom a day. And we're treating it as if he said this year. Alma Shana Kahashadam means as if he's saying this year. And therefore, go back to your question of Yom is like he's saying today, and therefore it ends at night. The Yom is like he said today. Maybe he actually said this year. No, if it's this year, even though it's Rosh Hashanah, and we know that it means till the following Rosh Hashanah. Who cares how many months there are? No, because I would have thought we should follow the majority of the years. In every 19-year cycle, there are 7 leap years. Years 3, 6, 8, 11, 14, 17, 19. So I would have thought that since the majority of the years, 2/3 of the years don't have a Rosh Hashanah, practically 2/3, don't have a leap year. So maybe when you said this year, you meant 12 months. Even though you said this year, it's only 12 months to Rosh Chodesh. And we say as if there's no Ibur, it's only 12 months. That if you said this year, I don't care how many months there are, it takes you to Rosh Hashanah. And the Gemara doesn't resolve it. This ends the blot of Shabbos. We'll pause for